like typically Indian guru, wearing colors, talking about in Sanskrit, in a language that you don't know. It sounds archaic. For the Western mind, it's a perfect setup. It's a perfect, show put on. He is driving on this cars that he's now. Well, I've seen him being carried in this dragon type of cards, and I mean, it's just a typical attraction to a different type of culture, because I don't understand why people are not looking, don't tend to look first for saints or enlightened people. I don't like to, bring up so much of the word enlightenment nowadays, but yeah, there's so many people in the West that don't have a huge following like him, that are enlightened.
Right.
But people like to love it.
Yes.
And he's calling on this.
Yeah, that's the popular misconception. If they're from India, they must be more genuine. Because they come
if
from
they wear
that culture.
orange clothes. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
so what
there's another aspect to it why I've been attracted to guru like this. I'm not sure whether you came across work of I believe his name is Rosenberg, and he's talking about narcissists. And the fact that I had an abusive father caused, it's more subtle level that can be discussed, but, it's strange that I have been attracted to a guru who has been extremely abusive.
Yeah.
I have learned that definitely this is not, I have learned, but what spirituality is not.
Right.
Is definitely not.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I
because
said. You can go in and you can have a very bad guru, but at least you can take away from the experience of what not to follow any longer and what not to, get involved in. And it's a hard lesson. It's a very hard lesson.
It's extremely dangerous mental setup. Extremely dangerous, because if you think you're not enough,
right,
you can attract people, narcissistic people into your life, in your relationship, or he can appear as a guru.
So
would be very abusive.
What was your experience when you were in the ashram? What were the things that were happening there while you were in this group?
Okay. Well, as I already started, he is a narcissist, and he doesn't care about the feelings of others, and he attracted people who are numb, don't have any feelings. I'm not going to say any labels what they are, but I have spoken with somebody who just yesterday, the head of the Cult Awareness Society, and I'm not gonna say where. Just lost the train of thoughts. What I was talking about?
Yes, about what were your experiences when you were in that ashram, in that community?
I think I wanted to talk about the leaders of such organizations and how they are. But coming back to the question, let me start from there. Well, very abusive. There has been physical abuse going on. He would make everybody not to think for themselves.
Right.
That's a process. That's a slow process in similar groups as well. not to think for yourself, stop feeling, stop listening to what you feel. The moment that's the problem. Why people are staying in that organization for so long is because they suppress their true feelings. Let's, for instance, I'm feeling wrong about the fact that he is, beating somebody else.
Right.
It's a totally normal thing to say, that's not right.
Exactly.
That's completely not right. That's completely not right that I haven't slept for 2 days. That's completely not right that I can't do whatever I want, that all parts of my life are completely controlled by him. But you suppress this type of feelings to the extent that you can even attack others, and in the name of enlightenment, you would rather accuse yourself that you're not devoted enough because you have this type of feelings, so you suppress them even more to become good enough for God, to become good enough for enlightenment, to become good enough to satisfy this guy.
So there was actual physical violence that was being perpetrated.
Well, everybody is talking about it. Even if I say it, they would deny it, because that's typical for organizations like this.
Right.
It's so typical.
And so this is what is so important, to have somebody like you come and speak, to say what is the reality that's going on behind the scene versus what they are portraying it to be. Very important to know what is actually taking place there.
Yes, but by the time you get aware what's happening really, you're already indoctrinated into the philosophy. Right. And there's no way that you would even allow your minds to think critically. There's no critical thinking in organizations like this, and I have been there, and I have been defending him, and I know they are capable of lying even for him, and I don't know if they're capable of more than lying for him, as you could see in what's happened in a similar groups. I mean, the list goes on up to, I don't want to mention anything particular, but people can go online and type what's happening in other groups.
Right. But I want to stay just particularly with his group at the moment, because that's the one that we're focusing on, not overall what's going on. I mean, most cults are very similar in the dynamic, what happens. Like I said, I see a lot
I don't want to call them cult, because I'm talking about my experience.
Right.
And I don't want to give them a satisfaction that I call them names and I'm so bad. I have right to have my own experience.
Right.
That's why. Do you know what I mean?
There's no reason to call them things. It's, just to give exactly what was your experience. So so when you get in there, you're buying courses. And are you pressured to continue to buy courses, or what's happening with that?
Okay. When I was there, I could say, I'm not gonna say exactly the years, but I was there before all these newcomers that are calling you names. Okay. And right before, and the courses just started, so he didn't start charging people this type of insane money at the start.
Okay.
But it started happening when I still been there. So I haven't paid anything. But I was in self-inflicted prison.
Right.
I mean, as simple as it is. And I have seen things happening. And in sense of the scandal, Well, even if I say it's true, it's true. Everybody is saying the video is true. I know the person who's put the spy camera. I know the person that he's asked for camera to put in.
Yes.
I know them personally. And but if I say it's true, it doesn't really make any difference to anything because they would just deny they are so vicious and so
But
typically involved.
that's why we need the people to come forward to know what's true and what's not true, that have seen it and can affirm what is actually taking place there.
I thought
Because
it was almost funny that he said to all the ashramites who were looking after him in his quarters, because you can't normally enter his headquarters unless you're chosen ashramite,
right,
like from an inner circle. I was initiated there as an ashramite, so I was uh, very closely involved.
okay,
But I was thinking that these people can believe that he's not doing anything with the girl when he ordered everybody to stay away from his quarters and for the girl to look after him as only one person, and saying the story that he was in a deep samadhi. Then he was saying the story that he was ill. I mean, either he's in deep samadhi, looked after
right,
somebody, being looked after by a famous actress.
right.
And being ill later on and not having anything to do with the girl later on. It's just like going on and on and on. It's it's so funny that
It would be
it's
funny if it weren't so sad, and people that he has really put people's lives in terrible torment when they've come forward. You know.
that is not funny. I know.
Yeah.
I'm laughing, but it's not really funny what's happened there and how
Well,
people's lives were affected.
right.
But the problem is he's lying even to the ashramites that he didn't do anything with the girl.
Exactly. Well, that's
He's lying to
exactly
them
the
and they're
point.
eating this lie in
Exactly.
the name of enlightenment. So he's got perfect workers there, perfect mindset of people working there for him, and it can become dangerous. He's building fences in the ashram like it is a military camp. I mean, it is typical for, you know, for groups that became very dangerous
Yes.
to build asylum like this, to not to let people in, and to be militant about who is coming to the ashram. And what else can I say?
Well, I think that
Um,
says quite a bit right there. I mean, when you were there, um, and you heard his talks, did you feel like you were getting something from them? I mean, what was the
uh, I can say what I feel when I'm listening to them now in compared to other teachers who are like, let's say, Buddha at the gas pump. They have
right?
really coherent people speaking there, not looking like a, like a dressed up gurus from ancient times, but he's talking, for me, he's talking now all over the place about
Yes,
something and dropping in the Sanskrit because he knows the Westerners people love it. That's all. And I was, hooked on it as one of the Western people who came there thinking that I'm going to become enlightened. And I was even, I was very sincere. I wanted to dedicate all my life to be in his sannyasi order. And it's so horrible to treat sincere people like they're nothing. Do you know what I mean?
yes, I know exactly.
Nothing. He would treat you like you are less than nothing. He's the what exactly what like Ross Rosenberg would describe it if somebody is interested would come to the amazing discovery. What he's doing exactly withdrawing the attention or giving the attention to somebody who is hooked on his uh, love or attention. And there are obviously two groups, one that is not being given any attention, and the other one that they are given his attention and positive side. And but if you live close with him, I don't know why people are taking so much of arrogance, and why people are lowering themselves so low to allow him to lash on them and call them the worst type of names. I mean, exactly the name. These people didn't bring this ability to speak like this to you from nowhere. He is speaking to people like this inside.
So
I
he's
mean, this is not bringing
exactly.
anybody to enlightenment to speak to people like this. I don't think so.
This no, this is not the way an enlightened person would treat people. Like I said in the video the other day, by their fruit you will know them, and this is the fruit he's creating. He's creating these people that are cursing people, saying such demonic things, just so nasty. And so that's what they're learning. That's what they're getting paramount out of that ashram, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
He's using fear. He wants everybody in mind there work
Yes.
for him 24/7. Man, typical stuff for like you could come across online describing groups like this. 24/7, low. There's no enough food. In fact, you know, when he comes across any problem, at least when I was there, uh, he would, let's say, somebody would have anemia, and he would tell them to start drinking some kind of herb water for anemia.
Oh goodness.
I mean, I can tell. Oh, that's another thing that I can say because it's been so wrong. What 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 he's been doing is just outrageous. Uh, we had a blood test, you know, in all the ashramites went to the hospital, had a blood test, and my blood test came really, really bad. I mean, the doctor said with me and said, it's bad. It's really bad. It's like, uh, if there is a scale up to 10 and 6 is very bad, I'm 8.
So
And I mean,
what was the reason that everyone went to have blood tests?
but he's getting the settlement that he's doing is based on Osho, is based on other teachers, so the
Right.
courses and whatever he's doing, like making sure that people don't have diseases and stuff. Just the
Oh, I see.
standard.
I see.
All his
Okay.
teachings are taken from other gurus. Come on,
Yeah.
everybody has spoken about. I mean, he is reading Osho books.
Right.
And
Well,
he's
that's what I
had
see.
Osho,
I
big
see he
Osho book
does.
was
He
always in his office in front of us, and he was designing this program at that time.
right.
I mean, everything is just plagiarized, and he's have a nerve to attack other people that they are plagiarizing his techniques that are coming from Shiva Sutras anyway. But coming back to the blood test,
Well, they're
I
not
come back.
coming. Unfortunately, that I would dispute. They're not coming from the Shiva Sutras. If you read the Shiva Sutras, they're very clear, and what he says is very obscure. He says they're coming from the Shiva Sutras, but actually, what he's talking is just absolute nonsense. 100%
But people are
nonsense.
listening to him like hypnotized.
Do what?
Like with the stare, with the glare, over 1,000 miles.
Right, right.
You know.
Well,
Anyway,
pretty soon, I've had one of the devotees today asked if I would do um, speak on some of the texts, and I said I would do that. So we'll see. But no, when he says he's speaking on different texts, I've noticed he may give some line from the text, but what comes out of his mouth bears no resemblance to what that text is pointing to. He has absolutely no knowledge or any depth to understand any of these
Because he's
texts.
scoring on his presence rather than
Exactly.
the theory. Because he wants to come across as this very strong, guru with the powers, and people like it. People think, people don't like usual things. They always attract to something unusual. That's why they're attracted to enlightenment in the first place.
They want the show. They want the show.
Yeah,
That's what they want.
exactly.
They
So
want to buy
it
the
works
show.
for him.
Exactly. Like I
Because
said,
genuine people had enough of the show.
a genuine guru does not need to put on a show. They are based in their truth, and that should be enough. But yeah, no, he presents the show. He's a showman, a con man, 100%. Well, I thank you so much for spending this time and speaking a bit about the ashram and what were your experiences there. I seem to have lost the sound with you. Are you still there? Oh, there, it's coming back now. The sound went totally out.
We haven't prepared for the interview, it's just as it comes. So sorry about this.
No, that's okay. The sound was totally out for a minute.
What I wanted to say, because it really upset